Hi guys, this week I thought I'd do something that is pretty simple but hopefully will be fun for me and fun for you to watch as well, which is doing the same image 3 ways. It's very easy to get into a rut with your artwork. Well, I find it is for me. I just keep grabbing the same materials all the time unless I'm actually pushing myself to work with something different. And so this is one way I think that will be fun to push myself. I've got this picture I took in Porto. I think it's a great image, but still simple enough to work with something like this. I also got this from Google Maps. Same image, but yeah, just the whole street view. So I might swap between the two just so that I can fit it to the format of my paper. So okay, let's get started. This is Sketching the World, and I'm Kat, a writer and artist from Australia, but my dream is to sketch the world. Okay, first up I thought I'd try the Kurosaki paints. I recently did a review of these and quite enjoyed using them, so I thought I'd get back into them again. I might end up adding some pencil detail, but yeah, basically starting with the main details and that in the Kurosaki. I also bought this as an addition to the paints. It's a dark indigo, which I thought would be good when I was reviewing them. One of the things I didn't like about this set was that I didn't have a really dark tone. So yeah, this is providing the darkness. Let's paint. One of the main things I want to do with this piece, with both ways of doing it, is to get that sense of abandonment and decay, the sort of flaking paint and the rusting metal, and just, yeah, that it's a building that has been left to stand for years. And so, yeah, getting the variety of paint colours in this. The Kurotaki Art Nouveau set has got great colours for doing something like this, by the way, and it's really enjoyable to work with. I'm glad I got them out again. Sometimes I just review things and then put them away. But yeah, I've had this one sitting out. The major drawback I'm finding with it is it takes up a lot of room on your desk. And when I'm doing this, I have actually got a really small space to work at and don't want to be reaching over too much. And that's mainly because I'm working on an A3 size sheet of paper. It's larger than I normally work, so I'm obviously taking up more space on the desk. I've also got, because it was such a big sheet of paper, I had to put the overhead filming thing on the desk. I usually put that under my table, so that's also taking up space. Actually left this to dry overnight, which is not something I normally do, but hey, when you're working on two pieces at the same time, you can actually do that. You don't have that same impatience to get the work done. So that's a real advantage from working on two paintings or two pieces of art at the same time, that, yeah, you can sort of give each one the space it needs. With this, I really started regretting that I was doing watercolor on a non-watercolor paper. It's just normal cartridge drawing paper, and I did start getting some warping, well, a lot of warping as the paper dried, which made it harder to, yeah, get things done. Like straight lines on what paper is very difficult. But yeah, with this stage, I'm just refining everything. I adding in the shadows, adding in the little details, and I'm trying to get the windows as dark as possible because I want to go over them with white. So to get that white to pop, I really want the blue in the windows to be as dark as it can possibly be. I thought I'd try out some paint splatters to get that look on the stone, but I kind of wish I'd tested the splattering on a separate piece of paper before going into the actual artwork. But yeah, it sort of faded as it dried anyway, and I don't hate it now. The decorative tiles were one of the most fun parts of this, but also got tedious very quickly, just doing all those tiny little squares. But yeah, I think that they really make so much difference to the finished piece, having that sort of context around the windows to show where they are. And they really do make it look like it is in Portugal, in Porto. Just a few finishing touches to add, and then it's on to the next piece. Okay, next round, and I'm using Poscas. There's an extra level of challenge here because I'm not sure how many of these have actually got paint in them and how many of them are dried out, but let's give it a go. I'm using a variety of acrylic paint pens here. I say Poscas is a sort of generic term, but I'm actually using not just Poscas, but I think there's some Liquitex and I can't think of the name of that. Molotow, that's the other brand. Molotov, I call them. I think everyone does. But Molotow, I'm sort of trying to smudge the paint here to get it looking a bit like the colours, the green, well, I guess it's mould growing in the concrete, and trying to get that texture so it's not just the really flat acrylic marker texture. I want to get, yeah, looking concretey and making a real mess of my hands at the same time. I'm having a real issue here, to be honest, because I'm using the large A3 paper, and a lot of our paint pens are the smaller ones, so it's really, really laborious trying to get all this done. I should have either done it on a smaller sheet. If I had done it even A4, would have been a lot easier, or, you know, got some chunkier markers. I've got one, you can see right up in the top right hand corner, a really big chunky red. If I had ones that size, I would have enjoyed this process a lot more, but yeah, you have to work with what you've got. I wasn't going to go out and spend a fortune on acrylic paint pens just for this one piece. I am, yeah, trying to put in a lot of texture here, so that kind of makes it a bit less tiresome, because at least I'm not trying to cover large areas with just a flat coat of the acrylic paint. But yeah, it was really hard going doing this. Not my favorite. But then I guess if I enjoyed using the acrylic paint pens, they wouldn't have been sitting on the shelf for ages unused. It's good to retry them. It's good to revisit old art materials, because sometimes, yeah, your taste change, the way you work changes, so you can get a whole new sense of something by going back to it. And I hate to waste things. I hate to have things sitting around not being used. But having said that, I don't think I'd bother replacing these once they start running out of ink. I'll just, yeah, work with them while I've got them, and once they're gone, they're gone. Poscas, acrylic paint pens, yeah, not my favourite at all. The number one reason I hate using these, paint explosions. You go from the paint not coming out at all to it like just blobbing onto the page, and you've just got to try and deal with that as best you can. 8 thumbs down, do not like, do not recommend. while the Posca pens, the white Posca pens, go over darker colours really easily. There's something I don't like. The lines seem to be a bit too stark or a bit too laid on top. Often I'll go back over with a pencil or something to soften them. But anyway, I've got a video coming up real soon about how to use light colours for highlights in your sketching. So if you're not a subscriber and you're interested in that, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out. Otherwise, I'll just keep going with this, adding the finishing touches. There are some things I like about the Poscas. I've been pretty critical of them, but I do like the way they've got that texture for the concrete parts of this sketch. How I've got the green going into the greys, the different greys, and got the shadows and everything. And yeah, they are good to use for some things. So, completely finished now. I've got the two pictures done. They're a bit too big to get in one shot together. But yeah, one with the Kuretake paints and one with the Posca acrylic markers. Which one do you prefer? And which one do you prefer working with? Let me know in the comments.